Welcome to today's presentation on the Department of Chemistry at Imperial College London. My name is Professor Oscar Says, and I'm very much looking forward to telling you about what makes our department such a special place to study. So the first thing is, Imperial College by any standard is an international university, both in terms of the quality of its teaching and the quality of its research, and those two things are at the heart of the student experience. Doesn't matter which detail we look at, be it the QS World Rankings, the World University Rankings, the Times, Sunday Times, Complete University Guide, The Guardian, you'll always find Imperial College right near the top. You can see there, QS World Rankings we're 7th in the world, according to the World University Rankings we're 12th, and most recently, which we're extremely proud of, the Sunday Times nominated Imperial as the University of the Year, and that reflected both the impact of what we were doing in the wider community, but above all, it reflected how we responded to COVID with respect to the student experience. We were really sector leading, ensuring that our students still had a really fruitful education experience during the toughest times in COVID. And as I said, that's something we're very proud of. When you come to Imperial, you could be here for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, depending on what course you do. And our job is to make sure that when you have a fantastic time when you're here, but at the same time that when you leave, you're set up for life, that as many doors as possible are open, and that whatever career you end up pursuing, that we facilitate and enhance the possibility of you going down that road. And that you can see there, it's reflected the fact that we're the number one in the UK for graduate prospects according to the Guardian University Guide. Most of our students have an extremely competitive salary when they leave, around about the £35,000 mark after about 50 months of graduation. And that reputation extends beyond the UK. It is a worldwide reputation that we have for the quality of the graduates who leave Imperial. You can see there, we're ranked top 10 in the world for reputation with employers in terms of producing the best graduates according to the QS World Rankings. And that's something that's kind of really important in our overall kind of thinking. Imperial, it's a big place, but it's a really special place at the same time. It's the only university in the UK, as you can see there from that slide, that is focused on science, engineering, medicine and business. It gives us a really special feeling as a university. But as I said, even though it's focused on just STEM, it's still very big. We have around about 22,500 students. Of those, around 11,000 undergraduates, matched by a similar cohort size of postgraduate students. And as you can see, and I've mentioned this a number of times already, teaching is at the heart of what we do. And we're actually awarded, as you can see at the top left of the slide there, a TEF Gold in the Teaching Excellence Framework, which is when the government assesses the quality of our teaching, we were awarded a gold as a university. Back to the size of our community, we're STEM based, but we still offer over 110 different courses, many of those within chemistry. And as it is a competitive university, as I mentioned before, the graduate prospects we offer, the quality of the education experience, the fun times you have at Imperial, it is a competitive place to get into. And roughly for every place we have available, we have around about 8 to 9 kind of applications throughout the year. And you can see the numbers there. For 2021, it was about 8.2 for every place that we had. Community is a word you're going to keep hearing from me over and over and over. I've been in Imperial now nearly 25 years, and part of the reason I've stayed here this long is the community is at the heart of everything we do. When you join Imperial as a student, as a member of staff, you straight away become, in the department alone, we have 1,400 people, and then you get to know the wider kind of ecosystem around you, and that ecosystem is extremely international. We're ranked 6th in the world in terms of being the most international university in the world. You can see some groups there where we have lots of students from, for example, India, China, France, Malaysia, Spain. I don't sound it, but I'm Spanish myself. And overall, around 60% of our students come from non-UK countries. So it's an extremely international and vibrant kind of place. The department itself, as I mentioned, is a large one. It's one of the largest in the United Kingdom. We have around about, at steady state, roughly 1,400 people in the department. That includes staff and students, and we're set on 2 different campuses at the heart of London. So you've got a photograph there on the right hand side of the South Kensington campus, and it's an absolutely stunning part of London to study in. You can see at the middle there's the Queen's Tower, which is the heart of the campus, and the campus sits in between a plethora of world leading museums, including the Natural History Museum, the Science Museum, the Victoria and Albert Museum. To the north you've got the Royal Albert Hall. Then you can see the stunning park to the north, which is Hyde Park. It's a really beautiful location to study in. And in years 1 to 3, or years 1 to 2, depending whether you do a BSc or an MSci degree, you spend your time at South Kensington. So we have roughly about 600 undergrads at South Ken. They're supported by a very large community of academics, teaching fellows and administrative staff. And then, as you'll see in a few slides, when you get to the research project component of your degree, you move to the White City campus, which is a new campus that's been built over the last few years. And that houses around 160 undergraduates, 150 Emirates students, around about 200 to 210 PhD students, academic staff, and then a host of researchers and technical staff who kind of enhance the experience for our staff and students. But as you can see there, it's a really, really beautiful place to study. I want to draw your attention to the top right corner. You can see there's something there called the Athena Swan Gold Award. And that's an award that's given to departments in the UK who really show excellence in terms of supporting their community. And to put that into context, there's only 2 departments in the UK in chemistry that hold an Athena Swan Gold Award, and only around about 10 to 12 departments of any discipline that have a gold award in the United Kingdom, which again reflects how special Imperial is, and Imperial Chemistry in particular, as a place for study. I said a bit more about South Kensington. As I said, you'll be at South Ken for your formative years, White City for your research year. There are only 2 of the campuses that Imperial holds. Actually, Imperial has a further 6 campuses, many of them linked to hospitals. One of the lovely things about all our campuses, in particular the White City one, which you'll see in a second, is we're surrounded by lots of our collaborative industrial partners, which means there's a very, very high level of engagement between our students and our employees, which in turn drives those really kind of strong graduate statistics you saw at the start of my presentation. The last thing I'd like to draw to your attention in the slide is you can see there's like a dome-shaped building just off centre on the left-hand side of the picture, and that's the Royal Albert Hall. And that's where all our students graduate. So when your studies come in after 3 or 4 years, you'll go there with all your friends to receive your certificate and degree at the Royal Albert Hall. And then London, which is at the heart of where both campuses are based, it is a truly spectacular place to both live and study. It's one of the great cities in the world, and actually in the QS ranked it as the best student city to be in 2022. Like I said, I've been at Imperial 24, 25 years, and I've lived my whole life in London. I can say, it really is a great place to be. At South Ken, one of the things that's special about it is we have a dedicated hub for teaching. So our buildings at South Ken are not a hybrid kind of model where these partly for research and partly for teaching. The infrastructure we have at South Ken is exclusively for supporting the student experience, and it is one of the largest chemistry teaching hubs in the United Kingdom. We've basically had real financial investment in the last few years, refurbishing the labs, workshops, tutorial centres to make them kind of really state of the art, and that's kind of constantly ongoing. You can see in the top right corner, for example, our brand new chemical kitchen, new cafe, new common room. But the key thing is, because it's a teaching hub, it is focused on the student experience. This map here shows you kind of London, and in the red circle, that's where the South Kensington campus is based. It's around about sort of 25 to 26 acres of land. And then the orange circle to the left, by bus it takes about, there's actually a college bus that goes between the 2 campuses. It takes about 10 minutes. It's the new White City campus, and I'll tell you a bit more about that because it's an astonishingly exciting initiative. But you can see the reason I'm emphasising this on this map is often when universities open a second campus, it tends to be 5, 10, 15, 20 miles out of town. Not at all. With us, we're really lucky in that our 2 campuses are right in the centre of London, in both cases adjacent to really beautiful parks. So the White City campus, and you can see there it has a sign above it called, it's now part of a wider ecosystem called the White City Innovation District, is different in the sense, as well as having students and staff, it also has allowed companies, SMEs, industrial partners, investors to co-locate in our spaces. So at the same time, you're walking down the campus and you might see someone from a corporate partner, from a pharmaceutical company, alongside a student, alongside a member of staff. And that leads to spectacular opportunities for students in terms of working with during their time or afterwards seeking employment with a potential external partner. And it's now widely recognised as one of Europe's leading technology and life sciences hubs. It's extremely vibrant. So it's 27 acres of land. So imagine the campus at South Kensington. It's a campus that's exactly the same size, just a few miles due west in London. On that campus, the department sits and lives in a building called the Molecular Sciences Research Hub. In this image here, it's in the bottom right corner. It's like the cream-coloured cube building, and this is what it looks like close up. And it's a truly spectacular place to do your studies in. It cost about £170 million, with that cost still rising because we're constantly upgrading it. And it is one of the most advanced, if not the most advanced, chemical facilities in the world. 27,000 square metres, open plan labs, world leading facilities. And this is where all our students come and do their final year research projects. Like I said, it depends whether you're the BSc or the MSci. And it was very much built with community in mind and allowing kind of different cohort groups, staff and students to mix as much as possible. And this building sits in the heart of that White City campus, which in turn is surrounded by a plethora of companies and startups. And that's really important because, as I've mentioned a few times, it leads to fantastic opportunities for our students to work with and engage with leading employers. Often when you're trying to find a summer placement or you're trying to talk to someone you might want to work with, you've got to travel across the UK to a different city or have a Skype or Teams or Zoom call. Not the case with us, okay? On the right hand side there, it's just a snapshot of some of the companies who are literally within a 5-minute walk of the building. So students, either part of their degree or in their spare time, they can build connections in real time with these kind of future kind of prospects. On the left hand side, you can actually see one of the graduate fairs we ran a couple of weeks ago, where around 600 students from chemistry met with potential employers and made really direct connections. And that comment about working with industry runs through the department, as well as learning about fundamental science and making fantastic discoveries as part of your degree with us. You'll also see that the department does a lot of research with large industrial partners, things like people like Pfizer, GSK, BASF. A lot of the research that we do is very much focused upon making impact in the wider society, and our students are at the heart of that as well. So lots of research projects often involve a student working with an industrial partner. Some students want to focus on kind of fundamental blue skies discovery, and that's fine as well. We support both in equal kind of measure, but the opportunity to be involved in translating fundamental research for societal impact is key to our mission, and it's something we try to involve all our students with as much as possible. Now, as I said right at the start, it's a competitive place to get into, and that reflects the kind of students that we take in eventually. They're extremely enthusiastic and they're full of ideas. And we really, really put a lot of emphasis in trying to be a place where there should be no ceiling to your imagination, your creativity, or what you want to achieve. And sometimes a student might have an idea that has commercial value and it's not part of their degree, but they think, I'd really like to try and maybe spin out a company, or I'd like to learn about how I could do that one day. And one of the things we support, and this is completely optional, as you'll see from other talks you'll have heard about in the college, there are around 350 societies in the university to get involved in everything from kind of gliding through to gymnastics, and one of those is around entrepreneurship. And we have a facility at the university called the Enterprise Lab, where lots of our chemistry students are members of, and in there you learn about intellectual property, how to start up a company, what it takes to be an entrepreneur. And if you have a great idea, the university and the department try really, really hard to support you in turning that idea into something that's kind of real. So lots of our students often say, look, I'd like to work for Google, but others say, actually, I'd rather start my own Google myself. And whichever route you choose to take, we'll kind of support those in equal measure. And you can see some statistics here. Typically every year about 2,000 students at Imperial College work with the Enterprise Lab, and we've raised about £200 million in the last 6-7 years to support these kind of student ventures. Now, one thing is thinking about having a startup. At the same time, you might want to develop the technology yourself. So another thing we offer our students, and this is at White City, there's a building very near the Molecular Sciences Research Hub called the Advanced Hack Space. It's an amazing place. Think of it as kind of a massive prototyping warehouse where any piece of tech you can think you might need to build something is available. And it's completely free access for all staff and students. And it covers everything from chemical hacking to electronics, machine learning, AI, biohacking, metalwork, woodwork, automation. And you learn skills in those areas according to what drives your interest. So this is completely extracurricular. Students go in the evenings or Wednesday afternoons or weekends, and they walk in and say, look, I'd like to learn a bit more about this, and they build up a skill set. And when you're in there, you're allowed to do whatever you like. You can build whatever you want. You can test whatever idea drives your fancy. So some students make new scientific breakthroughs, others develop technology that eventually they'd like to kind of commercialise. And that then comes back to what I was saying a few slides ago about the Enterprise Lab. It's great if you've got a good idea, but if you can stand up in front of an investor and say, not only have I got a good idea, I've proven it, and here is the widget or gadget in my hand, it makes it 10 times more likely to succeed. And this is something, again, that some of our students choose to engage with. What I'm trying to emphasise here is we're a department where your imagination defines where you go, and we try and provide the ecosystem to kind of make sure there is no ceiling to your ambition. Here's some examples of startups from our students. So you've got FA Bio there in the middle, and they developed diagnostic tools to allow kind of farmers to measure the quality of their soil. You've got FreshCheck, who are SEP students who developed a solution that changes colour in response to bacterial contamination, so that if you're in a hospital or if you're up an airport, you know when to clean a surface rather than kind of over cleaning, which you get then leads to over resistance. And then there's a company there which developed edible water capsules, so rather than to have a plastic drink the water and to wear the plastic, you actually eat the container as well as drinking the water, which again, as you know, kind of in the new era of sustainability is really important. And these ventures are complemented by the research that we do as academics, and students again are at the heart of that. So these are just a handful of companies that have emerged from the Department of Chemistry and are making a real difference in the world around us, and lots of students have been involved in the science that has underpinned these. So I'll give you an example. Bramble in the middle there recently raised about 35-40 million pounds to develop new fuel cells and batteries. Carrick Therapeutics are developing small molecules for treating cancer. Iconic are developing novel catalysts that help break down plastics. Lixia developing novel solutions that help break down biomass and turn them into kind of useful kind of products. Biomin's a toothpaste company. Really kind of varied, but the key thing is we try and pioneer science that pulls through all the way through into society. Now with that, I hope I've shown you that it's a really, really special place to study. It's a place where what we're looking for in our students is enthusiasm, a desire to learn, a desire to become the best you can be. And if you'd like to learn more about us, we'd love you to come and visit. So we have a series of open days and campus tours over the coming weeks. We've got virtual tours. We're always in attendance at education fairs. We run lots of summer schools, regular webinars. And again, as well as saying from me and my colleagues as academics, I think it's really important that you talk to our students. So there's a link there to talk to students from the department and the wider college. And we've got a really vibrant online presence, be it through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube and TikTok, where you can see what we're doing in kind of real time. For example, last weekend we ran an enormous festival called the Great Exhibition Road Festival, where there was about 30,000 people in attendance taking part in a variety of kind of scientific demonstrations. And with that, I just want to say thank you so much for listening. We'd love you to come and visit, and if you want to learn more about us, please don't hesitate to get in touch. Take care. Bye bye.